G'day everyone, welcome to another episode of Wineback Wednesday, and today we're heading down to Pipers Brook in the north of Tasmania, and we're looking at a wine from Sinapius Vineyard. In 2005, Vaughan and Linda purchased the property, and I believe there's about 2 hectares or 5 acres of vineyard there. And the name Sinapius comes from Linda's ancestors who came over from Prussia to Australia, in particular South Australia, and settled there originally, but obviously after a few generations Linda ended up in Tasmania, where she met Vaughan as well, who grew up down there as well. And they were trying to, their plan was to make the best wine possible, and I think they were probably ahead of their time in the amount of research that they did to create the decisions that they did make. I would say a lot of research on different varieties that would grow well down there, the clonal selection as well, and also the vineyard practices that would perform best in where their vineyard was down in Pipers Brook. Ultimately, they want to let the vineyard do the talking and have minimal intervention overall, and particularly in the winemaking, and go from there. But unfortunately, in 2020, Vaughan suddenly passed away at the age of 39, and Linda's strength and perseverance shone through, and she continued the business with her 2 daughters, 2 young daughters, and continued the legacy that both she and Vaughan had started from the beginning. And they've now got 4.3 hectares of vineyard, and they're all close planted, so 1.3 metre vine spacing and 1 metre row spacing, I believe. We have some even more densely planted, which are 0.75 metres as well of vine spacing, very much like Burgundy. And this 2022 Gamay was as a result of 4 clones that they planted in 2013. So the vineyard's 10 years old now, coming up for just finished its 10th vintage, and all hand picked, and with all the whole bunches they did 3 weeks of carbonic maceration, which is when you put all your fruit in as whole bunches into a closed vessel and load it up with carbon dioxide, and you start getting an internal fermentation occurring in the berry. This results in usually a really lifted fruit driven wine, and it's all with the wild yeast. And after 3 weeks, they then press it off and then put it into old French foudre, which are large format oak barrels, so about sort of anywhere like large literage oak barrels, and also some smaller literage oak used French oak barrels as well. After 8 months, unfined, unfiltered, with minimal sulphur addition, put into bottle. And here we go. So Gamay originally comes from Beaujolais, which is in southern Burgundy, right at the bottom, about halfway down the country, en route to the Rhone Valley. And you get different styles from over there, as much like you probably do in Australia as well. But over there are some fleshy, juicy ones, there's some pretty spicy ones, there are some more dense, sort of earthy, meaty sort of styles. Often they're rich on the palate and richer on the palate, some are softer on the palate, and similar to in Australia. So Australia's really only been growing it for the last decade, much like Sinapius has done, but probably the last few years has probably come to more prominence, especially in the cooler climates like of Tasmania and a bit in the Yarra and Adelaide Hills as well. It has a tendency to be quite a high yielding variety, and I think until people get the sites and the sites under control and the yield under control, etc., then I think things will settle down, much like other varieties have been here for a lot longer. So without further ado, we'll give this a go. I have opened it and had a bit of a practice before. Lovely little pretty red colour, cherry red. Really lifted red fruits. There's a nice spice level to it, spice and pepper, and there is some sort of stalky note through it. So obviously with that carbonic maceration in that vessel, you're going to, so as the skins start to break down, the juice comes out, there's going to be some contact with the stalks, and often you get this nice sort of sappy, sort of sweet sappy note through it. So, but there's only about 12% alcohol, but up there in Pipers Brook, very close to Bass Strait, you get a lovely, cool, dry conditions coming through. The vineyard's only about 80 to 100 metres above sea level, so not a huge elevation, but obviously being there in North Tasmania, it's cool climate anyway. But you do get some lovely dry conditions coming off the ocean, which moderates the weather conditions there. And at 12%, obviously you're getting lovely, you're getting good fruit aromas and flavours on the flavors, lovely flavours and aromas in the fruit without that huge sugar level because of the cool conditions. But being dry, your disease pressure is lowered, so you have the ability and I suppose the confidence to leave the fruit out there in the vineyard a bit longer and gain as much flavour as you can. So lovely, yeah, as I said, lovely red fruits and spice and a bit of stalking, sort of sappy note from those stalks, I think. And then on the palate again, being that older oak that's been matured in, there's no oak influence as such, it's just a storage vessel to still give you that nice maturation process with that subtle gas exchange, oxygen exchange through the barrel. But again on the palate, red fruit, spice, pretty, it's long, it's floral. There's a lovely little fine tannin note through it as well. Really long, really pretty, and I'm really enjoying that. I was looking forward to tasting these wines over the last few days. I got them in the picked them up a couple of not long ago, and I've been looking forward to tasting this one especially. The 2022 Esme Gamay from Sinapius Vineyard. Here's the Vaughan. Thanks a lot. Cheers.